Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the open panic within the Conservative Party at the progress Labour have made in winning over businesses as they force Labour to drop the announcement of a business council at the conference this week. Won't make any difference. The council's still going to be formed. All that's happened here is the Tories have exposed the extent to which business has abandoned them. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel. So, conference very much in full swing. I'm sort of at it, so recording these in advance. And some time ago, Labour announced their intention to form an industrial strategy council, which would include industry, unions, relevant experts to drive policy making. Instead of being driven, by greed and ideology, a load of ministers sitting around going, well, I reckon this. What do you know about it? Nothing, but I reckon it anyway. The Labour government will be getting stakeholders together in order to make sure we have the best chance to make the right decisions in the interests of the economy and the people. And in the same vein, Labour's Rachel Reeves was reportedly getting ready to announce a British Infrastructure Council at this week's party conference. But then the Tories got wind of the move. So they pulled out all the stops to persuade the large businesses involved to pull out. This was driven very much by the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, so right from the top, according to a report in The Times. Hunt's argument was that this was too political, given that the Tory conference had a heavy focus on infrastructure management. So to avoid looking partisan, the businesses pulled out. Now, this might look like the Tories have blocked another Labour plan, but this is entirely a problem for Sunak. First of all, this council is still going to go ahead. The businesses have pulled out because Labour are not yet in government, and they were going to, which means, basically they can't ignore the party that is still in government and could, in theory, still be the government for over a year yet. But despite the fact that Reeves will not be able to make the announcement of the formation of this council this week, it's still going to happen. And it's even been reported on still. It's not even like they've taken the wind out of her sails. It's still being reported on. The Times and the Daily Mail, at least that I have seen, have commented on the fact that Labour are bringing these big, and they are big businesses together to work on infrastructure projects at a time when the Tories are cancelling what was left of a pretty scabby infrastructure offer themselves. And just to emphasise how much businesses are taking Labour more seriously than the Conservatives, you only need to look at the figures for attendance at their party conferences. So ahead of the conference season, the Financial Times were reporting that the Conservatives had 28 businesses buying space, exhibition space at the conference this year, which was an increase on the 26 who did so last year. And you go, okay, well, that's a bit of a boost for Sunak. He got more compared to his predecessor, Liz Truss. He attracted more businesses to the conference. Well done, Sunak. But Labour attracted 16 businesses to buy exhibition space last year, significantly below that of the Conservatives. This year, it's up to 43. Now, that is not only nearly treble what Labour managed last year, but it completely blows the Tory figure away. In terms of charities and non-profit organisations exhibiting, Labour are attracting nearly treble the number of the Conservatives. It's a clear statement that not only do these organisations expect Labour to form a government very soon, but they want to work with them. Is it any wonder that the Conservatives are reacting with alarm at any signs at all of Labour being seen as the party of business? The idea of huge businesses like Aviva and Lloyds joining a Labour business council ahead of the election would have shown up Sunak's Tories to be no different to the ones who were led by a man who famously said, F business. It would certainly not help Sunak convince people that he represents change. But it is all futile. Hunt has persuaded the businesses not to form that council just yet, but the fact that they had agreed to means that they will once Labour win the election. The strong showing at the exhibition stands at the Labour conference will also be a very visible sign that Labour are talking to more businesses than the Tories are. I wonder if the Conservatives even realise how their own behaviour actually led to this. For years, businesses affected by Brexit attempted to work with the government in order to mitigate the damage that would be caused to their industry. The government consistently ignored them, insisting that their ideology took precedent over any other concerns. Businesses were warned by ministers against being critical of the government in public for fear of being excluded from discussions with ministers. That's what they said. If you criticise us publicly, we'll cut off those lines of communication. So many of those businesses kept their grievances and concerns out of the public domain, believing if only they could leave those lines of communication open with the government, they could nudge them towards less hazardous waters. It was all in vain, however. Is it any wonder that relatively few businesses want to engage with the Tories now? The party has spent the last few years making clear that the only thing it wants from businesses is their money. They're not interested in anything they have to say. And now here we are. Labour are going to bring businesses, unions and other expert stakeholders together. Those groups are going to finally have their thoughts and proposals listened to by a government that actually wants to grow the economy instead of wetting its knickers at 0.3% growth and hailing it as a big win. Labour are not just trying to paint themselves as the party of business ahead of the election. They will want to cement that reputation in government. Because if they succeed, it's like, where does that leave the Tories? Already seeing that the younger generations are more liberal at just the time when the Conservatives are tending towards more fascism. Couple that with Labour being seen as the party of economic growth rather than stagnation, and above all, rising living standards. Where do the Tories possibly go from there? Of course the Tories are panicking. They're not all stupid. They can see where this goes. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships, and until next time, I'll see you later.